bit of time left in the pit window, though.
All right, we had a little bit of a down with the stream there. I just randomly lost connection for some reason, but I am back.
Ooh.
So just
right. So I don't know if you caught it, but it does look like Riley did not manage to get the undercut. In fact, Henley is quite a bit further ahead. I think I can't see him anywhere anymore.
Okay, so
yeah, there he is. He is P5, but for some reason Henley's pit stop was not cleared.
Oh no! So Henley has not changed his tires. Most likely.
That's why. Yeah.
And that means he is going to have to pit all over again or face a huge penalty.
Yeah.
And that has really thrown his race out.
Pretty much. There's no real way he can make that up in 10 minutes. I think he's probably going to just elect to pit now. Yeah, he's coming in. Yeah, he's coming in. No, I've seen that happen before. Yeah, that happened in Silver as well. I think it was Luca or Rainer had the same thing.
Yep, it's definitely happened a few times. Ollie Moss, with his 10-second penalty still looming over him, is the last driver to not have pit at this point. Everyone else is in the lane.
Got to see the real race order now. We have Shane Thomas quite far at the front, I think. Ooh, 159, who's that? Ooh, Jack Harvey's got a massive penalty, 15 seconds. He's in P4. Who was that with?
Jack Harvey, Cole, 159, hits a back marker and spins him out.
Yeah.
So
he had 156, he had Max Diggs, yeah.
Big mistake there.
Big mistake from him. Yeah, that's going to throw his race out as well. It's going to put him probably even outside the top 10.
Absolutely, and Robert Branning brings up a good point in the chat. Steve Hughes made up to 9th position, so he's only been gaining, and he is now right on the tail of Maciej Markowski, at least in the order. He's got a little bit on the track to get to him, but that's a really good from him because he qualified hugely behind the other two. Ashley Blumfield, you can see also making positions up in the race, is now up to 22nd. He had a rather lowly qualifying position of 26th. That has made a few positions up. Steve Hughes coming from 16th up to 9th.
It's clear that Steve has gotten along better with that BMW, though, at least for now.
Actually, ignore those positions that I just said. I just realised I had to restart my broadcast tool, and so the qualifying position it says is actually the position they were at the start of the race, which my broadcast tool believes was when I restarted it. Yeah, so ignore those, but they've opened up more positions than that. That's what tipped me off. Yeah. Steve Hughes definitely did not qualify as 16th. He's made up a ton of positions. They've all made up a ton of positions. And Steve Hughes now leading a little bit of a train here with Justin Clerk just behind him. Justin Clerk slightly further down the order than he would be on pace because of that penalty. And so we could see him pressuring the BMW of Hughes anytime soon, as Shane Thomas is doing to Jack Harvey with his 15-second penalty.
I think Harvey might end up wanting to let Thomas go and maybe use him to gain a bit of speed, just to try to get out of penalty range from people further behind him. He's not keeping this position even if he fights for it.
Yep, that is true.
Spin further the back. Arno Storm spinning out, and funny image there with Paul Greatfix following him. They're both went off the track.
There we go. There's Arno Storm's spin. That happened just a moment ago.
Bandera as well in P26 had a spin, and Yeah, that's our tier 2 champion. He got. I think he might have gotten spun. It was on the straight.
So we were just
And
watching
he's
the Arno Storms incident, and it got a lot worse than just him spinning. He had cars hitting into him, and
Oh dear.
a ton of people getting slightly involved in that. Who was it you said had an incident while we were in that replay?
Carlos Bandera. He had to tow the pits as well. He was in P26. Car number 80. It was on the straight as well, so it was very, very weird one. I mean, squiggly straight.
Absolutely. So Ollie Moss, getting clattered, and he tries to come out of the pit lane. That was the Lexus taking way too close of the line there. He needs to leave room for a car coming out of the pits, and that is going to be very annoying for Ollie Moss. We'll have to see where he settles into, because obviously the timing screen is not fully adjusted just yet. But you can see him behind that Mache and Steve Hughes battle there. So I believe that is Justin Clerk who clattered into him, and he has come out in 10th position. So Nathan Burnswood out of the AMs doing the best in this phase.
Staying clean.
Yeah, with the pits, he's managed to pull out way ahead of the other guys. Ollie Moss was in the lead, is now in second place in that Ronaldo Racing Ferrari.
I was right about the Carlos Bandera incident. It was weird because he got a penalty for it, so he probably hit somebody else. That's what caused him to spin. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that is.
Race is drawing to a close. Our pit window has closed now.
Yep, and everyone's been through the kit, so no issues with that. And we still have a ton of people close together. 4 positions, which is nice to see. Again, it is Zandvoort, so we do get that sort of train forming, and it's sort of expected to see. But from Mache here backwards, we have quite a close little fight as Steve Hughes there forcing Mache to go defensive along the straight. Going to dive back down onto the line and try to take the long way around in the Bimmer. This is an awkward place to do it, because then you end up getting into this really tight section, but he's not going to make it anyway. Mache is going to get the lead into there. Car 111, Ollie Henley is also spun on the last corner, I can just see there, so that's unfortunate for him. Going to throw him down again.
From the lead all the way back. That's what can happen in a wet race. Also, a bit of an underrated person who might have slipped under the radar. We've got in P13, car number 34, John Dudley. He started 25th and he's up to 13th right now. And this is his first race with us.
That is a huge improvement for Dudley, keeping it clean and getting a lot of places from that. Good job by him.
Hughes and Markovsky are right up against each other, and they're in the same split. So we're going to... Hughes having a bit of a moment, but keeping it on the track.
Yep, this is the battle here for second place in the invitational split. Justin Clerk just behind them, looking to get a little bit involved here to make way on Steve's mistake, but isn't managing to do it. Steve Hughes clattering over the curb there. And this battle between these two to try and take second place in the invitational split is really holding up this huge train of cars behind them, mostly AMs, but bookended by Justin Clerk and Dudley, as you were saying, who are both pro split drivers, a little bit far down from the rest of the pro split.
Hey, most of the pro splits further back, if you ask me.
That's true, actually. Yeah,
they're not starting at the top of the pro split.
Yeah, the very close here. So there's the pro and AMs incredibly intertwined. So Jonathan Riley leads the race in his AMG. Nicholas Alvarado in second, and Shane Thomas first for the Invitationals and third overall. Nathan Burnswood, the highest positioned amateur driver in the race so far.
The Ritter and Bloomfield are having a bit of a spat. Which is interesting because the Ritter is a back marker, so he just unlapped himself, I think. Yeah, Bloomfield's 21st. It is much further.
We've got a little bit of a battle happening here as well. Ollie Moss is getting pushed by McGregor here. Robert McGregor looking to try and make something happen there. And each of these corners, they're just taking slightly different lines. Edgar Urick as well behind them, looking for any opportunity. This is the amateur battle for second place here between these three. Ferrari making a mistake there.
That grass, that could have been so much worse.
Absolutely could have been. Side by side with the Aston now, getting a little bit of a tap door to door as they're going into Audi.
Urick may be looking to capitalize on that, trying to get past both of them.
Yeah, but he also then has Dudley, who's trying to get past as well. Doesn't want to let anyone else push up behind him and threaten his position.
Riley's had a fantastic race as well.
Yep, Hendy confirming in chat that he, for whatever reason, didn't manage to change his tyres in his pit stop. Very unfortunate. Unlucky there. He was having a great race up until that point.
I guess this is our sim racing version of random mechanical failures, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agree. And Victor Janber now must start trying to make it a bit more interesting up the front, because he is right on the back of Jack Harvey. I mean, obviously, again, Jack Harvey with that 15-second penalty means he's going to get this position anyway. But
very well qualifying Andy Thorpe has his race ruined by a spin out of the last corner as well. Number 68. It's all the way down 26 now, P26, waiting for cars to go by. Yeah. Very unfortunate. Markowski and Hughes coming up to back markers here. See if they can capitalize on that as we're going into the final lap now with Riley, as we're just reaching time. So this is going to be the final lap, final chance for Steve Hughes to do something against Markowski. Get that good extra place in the top 10 and extra place and second place in the invitational split. First and second are quite comfortably ahead as well, with Shane Thomas in the invitational all the way 4.5 seconds behind Nicholas.
Yeah, and Ollie Moss as well has managed to pull away from the guys who were chasing him. Robert McGregor and Edgar Urick now battling over that last podium position for AM, just ahead of Dudley here in the end of the top 10 positions. Very wide there from the Aston Martin, but you can sort of take a few lines through that corner, so it's not too outrageous.
I mean, Ollie Moss got a penalty and all, but he's still in the top 10, so I still think it's a pretty good drive for him. An improvement from last season, I think. He usually didn't finish this high up.
Yep, good job from him. Been doing a lot of streaming in some of the big endurance races, including the ACCSS ones. So we've been seeing a lot of Ollie Moss around.
Oh, a back marker spin in front of Hughes and Markowski. I saw that. Oh, they almost touched there. Let's see. There's still got more back markers in front of them. Quite squirrely there, the fight between Hughes and Markowski. Hughes really wants to get past, but I don't know if he'll be able to. He's only really got the final corners, so he can do it. And
yep, there is Jonathan Riley finishing the race. First position, Nicholas Alvarado going to come in second, with Shane Thomas in third. Jack Harvey, he's getting chased by Victor Janber in the Audi, but he has a decent way back to there, so that's going to be fourth position for him.
Well, fourth on track, because he will be knocked quite far back.
Until he gets his penalty correct.
Yeah.
We're looking for the back of Maciej Markowski here.
Off the track, but doesn't matter. He's gonna keep second position in the invitational split. So you had Jonathan Riley in first place, followed by Nicholas Alvarado, and then Shane Thomas round out the podium. Then Jack Harvey provisionally in fourth place, because he'll probably be knocked out of the top 10 with that 15-second penalty. Victor Jamba in P5, Nicholas Burnswood first of the AMs in P6, Maciej Markowski and Steve Hughes, invitational split drivers being P7, P8, Justin Clerk P9, and Ollie Moss in P10. Our second AM driver, rounding out the top 10.
Absolutely, a good first race, I think, from our boys in the top split. A little bit messy, but it's, the first race of the season. It's an incredibly tight track, an incredibly hard track to overtake, and an absolute ton of cars here.
Oh, my camera went off. Yeah, of course it did. Give me a sec.
Yep,
connect to it. Yay! Give me a sec, connect to my camera.
No worries. I actually... There we go. Right, we are now able to look at the positions. So here we are. You can see the this is with penalties having been done. So put P and then the number of the driver that you want to vote for in the chat for driver of the day. My camera also died, so I'm also going to have to
I've got the camera.
Do a bit of restarting on this. So while I'm doing that, remember to throw in your chat who you think is driver of the day. Who do you think is a driver of the day, Mihai?
Well, I do think he's an invitational driver, but Steve Hughes went all the way from P20 something to P7. And also, I did like somebody in a similar vein he's outside the top 10, but I did like Dudley. I liked John Dudley's performance here. It is his first race with us and went from P25 to P12. And I think that would be. I think Riley had a fantastic race, and actually, he did win the race, and he probably also deserves driver of the day. So between those three for me.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of good ones. You've got 2 votes in for P2 so far. Nicholas Alvarado getting the most love. So I set up the podium screen.
Oh no. Yeah, there were people who are changing to dries. Maybe that's what happens. What happened as well.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to make it a little bit harder to control if you haven't got your pit strategy set up perfectly right as we head now to the as Discord. There we go. Get your camera the right way up. Everything is sorted now. Your podiums for today. This is obviously not including the invitational split. So tier 1 will be Jay Riley, Nicholas Alvarado, Victor Yanba, and then Burnswood, Moss, and McGregor are your top 3 in tier 2. That driver of the day is wrong because I haven't changed it yet. But it will be Alvarado.
Okay, we're on the grid for race 2, and as you do that, I shall return real quick. We'll be off for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, huge shout out to Nicholas Alvarado. The bot, the bot, ignore the bot, right? The bot is Dan's thing. He leaves that active, and then I forget about it, and I count with my eyes, and 2 votes for Alvarado. I probably misspelled this all because I've been rushing it. I'm sure there are mistakes. I can already see mistakes in my spelling, so apologies to everyone who I rushed through their name and spelt it wrong. Janba doesn't have an E in. Alvarado doesn't have an E in. There's no space in McGregor, but that's fine. It's just the podium. And as we do that, we are going to get ready to go into our next race of the day. And before we do that, I'm going to throw you over to a little bit of adverts. Thank you for sticking around. If any of you throw in your Twitch Primes or anything, help support us at the stream, support us at ACCSS, have all our servers running and such, and give us a little bit for the time we spend doing these. I hope you've been enjoying the stream and enjoying these races, and I'll see you when the race starts.
Bring the smell of rain into my bed and lie so close to me. You could be inside my head. Maybe it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing to feel the kind of magic that your love brings.
So we are back for the second race of the pro split here in ACCSS. People just getting lined up in file. A couple of people there making a bit of a mistake. I don't know what happens to Nathan Burnswood there. He's falling down positions. Really bad from him there as the front gets really aggro. Actually, Markovsky going around the outside of all of these guys as Nicholas Alvarado is getting swallowed up again by a Mercedes, and there's Lexus, that's Justin Clerk, who's sent spinning, and the whole field is having to just squeeze around him. There's some tapping and bullying, and then there's a Mercedes spinning around. That's Arno Storms, I believe. Dan Terry making up a huge amount of positions there from the chaos.
Oh no, Sachs Sachs has killed 2 people. Oh my god, the murder in the back.
Ooh, people going all over the place there near the back. That was a bit of a nightmare. The first incident wasn't too bad there, but the sort of follow-up crash.
The steward sheet, man, if you see it now.
Steward sheet popping off. Lots to do for our boys tonight. Shout out to our guys. I'm desperately trying to click on Sachs's name in our thing there. Let's try and have a look back at there. We're going to watch the start from Florian Sachs' perspective. See how this all went about. Huge amounts of slowing down into the first corner. People really trying to get past as fast as possible. Having a bit of an incident, and there we go. Sachs tips a McLaren and then comes back onto the track. Gets tipped slightly by the McLaren, comes and hits a Porsche. And then Dan Terry smashes into a McLaren that's just coming back into the track, sends Sam Teague absolutely railing off as well. So, tons of carnage there in our, quote, pro split. This is obviously a rookie league still, and this carnage happens all over the place. I remember watching the Bathurst 12 hours with, Jardier and Niels Noyaks and all that, and they had absolute chaos on the start. So you don't get away from it anywhere as high up as you go.
The Ritter and Janbar having it out a little bit in the top 10.
So
the leaders are still quite close. Riley and Henley are right up against each other.
Yeah, let's check the order now. Ollie Henley is leading after all of that, with Jonathan Riley right behind him in the Mercedes. Nicholas Alvarado third, Maciej Markowski fourth. Then Jack Harvey is just behind them. Ollie Moss leading the amateur split in 6th position overall before Victor Janber, Renaud de Midler, Jurek and Norberg round out the top 10. And not too much carnage for these guys at the front. They sort of slipped past a lot of the absolute chaos.
What happens at the front usually, ain't it?
So, good work from them, managing to pull ahead.
Markowski running a little bit wide there, giving Harvey a chance to get close. Bottom of the top 10 is also pretty spicy, so we're still going to have plenty of battles here at the start, right?
After all that chaos at the start, people trying to sort of check up and chill a little bit. Steve Hughes down in 31st, so he has also had a terrible start. But Dan Terry all the way up to 29th from 44th on the grid. A couple of people, Szymanski ahead of him as well, making up huge amounts of positions on this start.
Clerk is very heavily damaged. He's gone down to P33 and has a busted rear end. I think he's going to be going down into the pits.
Yeah, it all comes down now to whether he feels like he can absolutely drag that car within the pit window, or whether he's going to have to pit early. As we see now, Joseph taking the Audi side by side with the Mercedes of Max Diggs, one of our America's drivers for Max Diggs, keeping the position there with the third BMW also Szymanski in the fourth BMW there. I didn't even know there was a fourth BMW, but he's come in really gaining a ton of positions and is now right behind Joseph there.
Hughes are right up against Terry there.
Yep, and Ashley Bloomfield in 22nd is the first of our invitational Bentley BMWs even this time.
Well, Harvey's going to be on the inside of Markowski there. Oh, just pulls out. He wanted to do that, but Markowski runs wide, so Harvey's going to be able to maybe try to do an overtake here. Nope, this time he runs wide. The braking points in the wet proving to be quite tricky.
Yep, really, really feisty bit of track there. So seeing multiple drivers constantly making mistakes up there is going to happen a few times throughout this race. Nathan Burnswood, it looks like, has had some sort of incident as well and is now back in the pits. Looks like he collided with a Bentley and was spun off. So that's big unfortunate there for our Sahara Forced India looking Aston Martin.
Oh, I thought I was going to see Hughes die there. Person behind him kind of missed his braking points. Yeah, Martinez. See anything else? Moss, Harvey, and Markowski are still close as ever. Strasser has had a bit of a moment. He's in P44 now. Fortunate for him.
Yep, Victor Yamba down in 50th position, as Rob suggests. So he's clearly made a mistake at some point and fallen down the order. Hopefully no contact involved in that. We can have a look at him here.
Oh, Yamba. Yeah, Yamba's gone.
Yeah, his car looks pretty clean, though, so it looks like he just made a mistake, maybe going a little bit too wide somewhere. Luckily hasn't had any big crunches, as Thomas van Zanten seems to be once again one of the first into the pit. There's a big group of people here who seem to be strongly in the opinion of the best strategy, as we see in Aston Martin in the background there. That's Ainsbury.
Oh, that was a big incident around P30 area, at least one of the cars with Jack Winter. There were multiple cars spun around in a pileup further at the back. So we had Urich has now DNF'd Jack Winter as well.
Let's have a look back there at some of these guys. We'll follow from Paul Graytrick's car, see if we can spy this incident from there. There we go. It happened between those two cars. It's free, actually, yeah. The cars that Mihai was naming, and this put Paul Graytrick's in a position to maybe make a move. Doesn't quite, though. So these three cars getting past, quite lucky there. Not doing too badly. That was a weird position. That absolutely made my heart stop. I thought I'd crashed again, but the camera just decided to go through the earth for some reason.
Ooh, Moss and Harvey are really close. I think Moss is going to try to go for something here. Maybe up in turn 3, let's see.
Really hard to overtake this early on in the track. He's probably just going to have to stick right behind that Lexus. And then you basically get 3 tries in a row at the end. Possible run into Vodafone, into Audi, and then into turn 1.
This keeps happening. I wanted to see what Grealish was doing, and he was in the sand. So got the bottom of the top 10 now. They're quite close together. I think they're intertwined with some back markers. Yeah, Urich is a back marker now.
Yeah, we got about, like I said, a huge gaggle of cars jumped into the pits immediately. And so all those guys who have pit are now right behind with everyone else.
The Ritter having a much better race now, being in P7. He's right up against Moss as well. This bottom half of the, well, middle of the top 10 is getting quite spicy, as the guys in the lead, Ollie Henley and Jack Riley, have been, well, Henley has been slowly gapping him now, so building up quite the sizable lead. Let's hope he changes tires this time.
Absolutely. Menno Derrida now at the back of this train. Andrzej Markowski possibly going defensive, but he doesn't look like he's under that much pressure, so perhaps just cooling his tires there on the water. And he's leading this little train. Jack Harvey just behind him for the pro split. Ollie Moss leading the amateur split in the Ferrari that we see in front of us from on board with Menno Derrida in the Bentley.
So Yamba's going to the pits probably to repair some damage. McDonald coming in behind him. I just clicked on him for a second as he was slapping the wall at the pit entry. Mm-hmm. So he had quite an interesting.
We've seen a few people struggling with the pit entry here, mainly in practice, but yeah, it seems to be, it is a tricky one, definitely. A lot of people, you try and take as much speed into there as possible, but you really need to get stopped before the incredibly tight turn that leads into it, as we see now side by side, Ollie Moss and Jack Harvey. Ollie Moss going for it, round the outside in Vodafone. If he can hang on to it, which it doesn't look like he can.
Contact.
Yeah.
Contact with Ritter. He's gonna just barge on through. Thank you very much.
Ritter dives into a gap which really isn't there, and Ollie Moss is not happy about that one.
You know, I'm going to just say it. I think he might have just barged on through to a 5-second penalty, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think a 5 could definitely be coming there. There was not a gap there, unfortunately, but he is now ahead and chasing down the car ahead of him.
Seeing a bit of a reversal now. Doomfield is already up to P12. Steve Hughes is quite close as well. Maybe we should be following him a bit more.
Here's Paul Cramp at the end of the top 10 as well, chasing McGregor. These two are also incredibly close as Jonathan Riley dives into the pits. There's Edgar looking to try and make a move, but he is a lap down, so he's got to be careful on that one.
Oh, Bloomfield and Hughes are definitely racing each other. They've just gone to the pits at the same time, so it's going to get spicy. They're going to be right up against each other at the, that pit stop.
Lovely. It'll be good to see them coming out of that stop together. See if they get into any battles.
Riley's gone into the pits into a pit stop, so he's going to try to do the undercut again on the Henley.
Yep, here's Riley coming out of the pits. Should be leading those who have pit.
The Markowski train is coming up to Zaransky, a back marker, so this might mix things up a bit.
Yep, no penalties applied yet. The Stewards still looking for a lot of this early instance and making sure to get some of these turn 1 crashes checked and double checked. Zaransky, good back marker, gets out of the way of these three to let them go and fight so he can continue his own race behind as well.
The midfield has spread out a bit as the pit stops are separating the field, so there's not much actually going on this time there. Oh no, Paul Graytrix in B28. He's fallen. He's gotten the curse, as we always have in these races. He's gotten a stop go 30 for speeding. Yeah,
McDonnell as well with a stop go 30. So a couple of guys making a mistake here.
It is always one unlucky soul who ends up getting those penalties in the race.
Yeah, for sure. So Nicholas Norberg now takes a second, just ahead of Andrew Thorpe for the amateur drivers. Of those who have not pit, of course.
There's some midfield action there, a bit further back in B27, 28, with Szymanski and Dudley. Dan Terry behind them. He's got Shane Thomas on his butt. So
Shane Thomas not had a good race. You can see he's a little bit cracked up there on his nose. Clearly, number 3 car has been in a few incidents.
Fabian right behind them.
Yep, so he was rear-ended in the first crash of this whole incident by the Lexus, so he has taken a lot of damage from that and is now fighting with Piogne on this straight. Fabian just going around the outside of him. Gonna hold the inside. Ooh, Fabian getting very close there, but keeping it clean. These two side by side into this very tight, complex turns. This is going to slow both of them down horribly, hitting the curb there for Shane Thomas and letting Fabian past.
Something happened to top 10. Ollie Moss has a banged up rear and has been in the wall. So there was a ugly end to that fight with the Ritter.
Oh yeah, the Bentley, it looks like, has just knocked him around. Unfortunately, we did just catch the end of that on our replay, but yeah, that's a really, really bad one. He's lost a ton of places there coming out. Oh, behind Sam Teague and trying to get turned around. It's an awkward predicament to be in. So here was Mache defending again from the Lexus. This Jack Harvey really pressuring him here for 3rd position.
Further back in the midfield, we've got Victor Yamba and Steve Hughes. Quite evenly matched people here.
And here's Jack Harvey, dives down the side of Matche even before Vodafone. Matche's going to try and come back into Vodafone and hang around the outside, but it's really tricky to do that. Jack Harvey doesn't leave the inside open for a comeback, and Matche's all over the curb trying to do that, but has to sit in behind him now. So Jack Harvey there taking a third position.
In lead, we've got Henley coming up to back markers. I have a feeling he's going to want to pit in very soon. Yeah, as I said, he's going to make the decision, pull the trigger, and go into the pits. So let's see if Jonathan Riley will manage to undercut him.
And Jonathan Riley went for it quite a while ago. He's coming around to the middle side of the track now, lining up to Vodafone.
Further back in the midfield, in the meantime, we've got B2019 and 18 with Boyle, Kantea, and Shungle. They're quite close together. Moss is now P14, so he's definitely gotten a bit of damage. I think he should be pitting in. For some reason, he isn't. Henley hasn't yet started moving, and Riley is coming onto the pit straight now.
Yeah, but Henley's just going, yep.
I think he was going to just hang on to first position. Yeah, Henley right now coming out of the pit lane.
Ooh, very close up to the back of the Bentley there. So this is first and second racing for position here, but Henley has just kept the position ahead of Riley. Riley is on those tyres that he's had up in pressure multiple laps now, so this is a big difference, much bigger than the one lap as we've seen before. And so hopefully Henley's going to have to warm everything up real quickly, because there's going to be overtaking opportunities coming for this Mercedes in just a few corners.
Now back in the midfield, we have a couple of battles. There's Poignant on Terry, side by side in turn one. Poignant does back out of it, but Terry goes a little bit wide, so this battle is still wide open.
Here Riley looking down the inside of the Bentley, not going to get it, but still fighting into Vodafone, as we always see. People just being super aggro through here, and he's right on the back of the Bentley. Going to be coming down into Audi. We'll see if we see a lunge, but it's really hard to break on that wet side of the track. So he's not going to do it, just chilling out for now, as we're going to start seeing the first of our penalties coming through.
I think it was Burnswood, so it might have been for something happening in the first lap.
DeRidder getting a 5-second for pushing Ollie Moss.
I think that was the penalty I was talking about.
Yep, that was the one that we saw. Then there's a few penalties going to be coming in from first lap incidents as well.
Poignant on Dan Terry, they're still having a fight there further at the back. B25 at the moment, so more of a midfield fight. Same time, we've got Thomas van Zanten in P15 on Andy Thorpe. They're right up against each other, and right behind them is McGregor. He's got a 10-second penalty, though, so that's not much of a fight.
And McGregor, car 873, he has a penalty from right near the beginning of the race for hitting car 259, which is Benjamin Horriot. Side by side there for the Bentley and the Mercedes. Van Zanten looking to get around, but that's not a position where you're going to manage to do it. So Thorpe gets to lead these guys for a little bit more, and we're going to start seeing them really fight when they get to the middle of the track.
Hughes managed to really get a gap on Yamba, so they were fighting before, but now Hughes is almost 2 seconds ahead.
Yeah, Riley and Henley getting to the middle part of the track where you can start seeing incidents happen. So we're going to be following them.
Dudley having a much worse race this time. He's in B23 with 10 seconds worth of penalties. So, yeah, a lot of penalties coming in. The Ritter's in the pit, so he's going to clear his penalties. That's going to put him quite further back. I think he actually got an extra 10 seconds. There's also a 15-second coming out.
Van Zanten looking to go around the Bentley, but he's trying to go wide around through Audi, so that's not happening. Just a little bit offensive from the Bentley, the Aston Martin as well behind them. Super close to all these guys. At this point, some of these lookouts are just going to be them being careful to keep their nose out of trouble.
Yep, and Henley's gotten his tire pressures on now as he's slowly starting to gap Riley again. 10 seconds, 10 minutes left in the race. Just out of the top 10 for P11 and P12, we've got Cantea and Boyle, who've been getting quite close to each other. So I do think there's going to be something going on. McGregor has not had a good race. 20 seconds worth of penalties as somebody.
I think that's Thorpe there. Thorpe just gets thrown off of the track there. He was racing with Van Zanten and doesn't manage to keep it on the track there. Was that a mistake of his own or of Van Zanten's doing? We're going to check the replay and see what happens. The Aston Martin actually behind, going around the Mercedes into turn one, but the Mercedes keeps that tight line and ends up beside the Bentley, trying to go side by side through these corners. And yep, Thomas Van Zanten just slams into the side of the Bentley, sending him into the wall, and the Bentley slides across the track, hopefully not hitting anyone there, as these guys carry on ahead.
I think that's going to be a penalty for Zanten as well.
Very well, maybe, as Nicholas Alvarado, Ollie Moss, Jose Martinez, and that's the three of them have all pit. 1 or 2 laps left for Florian Sachs and Jack Harvey to pit.
I mean, Harvey's currently in clear air, so I think he's going to try to push his stint as much as possible. So out of that, yeah, Riley and Henley still being relatively close to each other, but just Henley just has that little bit of an edge over him at the moment. Where is Hughes? Hughes is P19, so definitely not having the same meteoric rise we've seen. It's Paul Cramp on the inside of Andy Thorpe on the straight. An easy pass. I think Thorpe might have some aero damage there. He's losing some time on the straights. And oh god, you're gone.
I'm here. You're just watching the replay of what you were just talking about with Paul Cramp and Andy Paul Cramp now leading into P16.
Yeah, but he's got Hawkins right. No, sorry, that's Hawkins on Thorpe as well. So we're going to see if Thorpe really has a lot of damage. It's making him lose time on the straights.
Check Harvey now in the pits, so it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out into this fray. He is the last driver to need to pit.
No, the winners I think here in the pit battles have definitely been Boyle and Shungle and Cantea. Because Shungle, for example, I think he started 20th, did he not?
Yep, right back there, and is now 6th position. Possibly even 5th, depending on where Jack Harvey comes out. A really good race coming from him, and Jack Harvey is still just about stationary.
Yeah, but he is. Yeah, no, I think Harvey just is now getting out of the pits, and he has the first pit box. So he.
Oh yeah, he's immediately out of the pits. Look at that, just bounding out. Shungle really pushing with Boyle right on his tail, but still will be in 6th position, just behind Jack Harvey, who comes out of the pits into 5th.
Saying that, something happened to Riley. He's 4 seconds behind Henley now. He must have made a mistake.
Yep, he was 4 seconds slow on the last lap, so definitely made a little bit of mistake somewhere there. Also, we should talk about Ashley Bloomfield in the other BMW art car, who has made himself up to 12th this position. Steve Hughes in 15th has also had a good race, but Ashley Bloomfield, the leader of these two Bimmers so far.
Hughes and Hawkins now gonna have a fight. I think this kind of cements it. If Henley doesn't do anything, I'm going to shut up, or else I'm gonna curse him. Boyle and Shungle are really close together, P7 and P6. Boyle's trying something. Shungle going wide, getting a little bit of sliding. Going through Vodafone, I think you called that corner. That's probably correct. I don't know the corner names for this track.
Yep. Vodafone and Audi, the only two you really need to know as we've come out of Vodafone now and into Audi. This incredibly tricky corner, and now we're going to head around through the last corner towards turn 1 with Leonard Schungel and Boyle just behind him. Joe Boyle.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the fight for the top 10. Everybody else is pretty spread out, so we're going to be looking at the midfield for extra fights and be seeing if Hughes and Bloomfield could make up some more positions.
Yeah, so side by side there, Boyle just dives on the inside in turn 1. That was incredible. That was a really smooth overtake. With some of the messiness we've seen, it's really nice to see just such a clean pass. Super well done from these two, and that puts Schungel down into just 7th position there.
16 and 15. Menno de Ritter is side by side, turn 1 with Steve Hughes. I think he's coming up from behind, so he's going to want to try to overtake Steve Hughes. Ooh, they're right up to the back of each other. Very good that they didn't hit each other. There's a little bit of contact there, Hughes and de Ritter. As there's a yellow flag further up, Sam Teague has managed to spin out.
Big wiggle there from de Ritter as well. He was right on the back of Hughes as you were talking about, but just...
5 as well. Edgar, Urich, and Clerk, they're down the wall. I don't know what happened there, but I think they had a bit of touching has happened. That's for sure.
We're going to go in the replay to see this. Edgar Urich here in the green Ferrari. Coming up behind a Porsche. So no, he loses it on his own. Spins, tries to correct the spin, catches it. Just taps the Lexus. The Lexus there really unlucky to get taken out by that. Yeah, it looks like a racing incident there. He just loses it himself, and the Lexus unfortunately gets collected.
De Ritter and Hughes still added into Audi. Hughes was on the outside though. But this is a fight to watch down in P15 and 16. These guys are going to fight to the end, as I think we've got about 2 laps left. Schungel and Boyle with Cantea coming back at them at the bottom.
Oh, Hughes! Hughes just spun. I was just changing to see what you watched, and Hughes just spun in the just a little bit later than we saw the last spin. Another one on that last corner, just to put it in a bit too hot and lose it, and that has thrown Steve Hughes down into 20th position, so losing 5 places from that. Actually, Bloomfield now the leading art car by quite a way.
Yeah, he's pretty far away from Van Zanten, so I think he's probably going to stay in P12. Markowski detached lead in the Invitational split, P4. I don't think he'll make it to the podium unless one of the top 3 makes a mistake. You know, as I've said that, all 3 of them will spontaneously combust. Leonard Schungel and Boyle are still at it. 2 more laps of fighting from them, most probably. Also got Geno and Ollie Moss. Ollie Moss being a top 10 driver for quite a while now, all the way down in P17.
Yeah, he's got some battering on that Ferrari, so he's definitely been in the wars. Looks like he's about 6th there in the amateur split, perhaps a little further down.
Steve Hughes on Yamba again, so that's a fight. That's been raging for the whole race, one way or another. Harvey's coming up to Markowski as well, less than half a second of a gap. So, Markowski runs wide in turn 1, so now Harvey is right up to the back of him. Looks like you've got 2 laps left.
Yep, Markowski and Jack Harvey now in a fight for position 4, so it looks like the possibility of getting a podium for Match is definitely out of the question, but he could hold off for this P4 overall. The next fight being that Boyle-Schungel-Cantera fight down for 6th, 7th, and 8th, but Boyle is just starting to pull away from Schungel, and Schungel the same from Cantera.
So many penalties at the back, holy moly, that's mostly from the lap 1 carnage though.
Yep, there was a lot of lap 1 stuff coming in.
Harvey on the outside through Vodafone, not going to get it stick, not going to make it stick, trying to go for the switchback, but it does not seem to ever really work in the rain. I don't think you have the grip to do that.
Yeah, normally it's a great corner for going too wide, getting multiple lines, but I think you're right that in the rain you just don't have the grip on the outside line that you do in the dry, and so it really hasn't been working for anyone at all this race, it seems.
We're going into the final lap. Boyle, Shingle, and Kantea still as close as ever. We also have a little bit of a fight outside the top 10. Krampf and Bloomfield are close to each other. Hughes and Yamba, the eternal fight in race 2. Let's see, there's going to be last chance for Harvey to get through as he goes on to the grass a little bit, so that's going to lose him a bit of time. Ooh, Bloomfield runs wide in turn 1. That's Krampf get by quite easily, actually. So Bloomfield losing another position. Well, another position. Losing a position. Going down to P13. See, Harvey and Markowski are going to have a bit of a fight going around the outside. Now, is he going to try the same tactic around Vodafone? As Henley, in the lead, is going to the final 2 corners.
Yep, so here we go. Henley gonna get revenge for the mistakes made in the first race. Is gonna come through to win the first round, the second race of the first round at Zandvoort in our gold split. Jonathan Riley coming in second. Nicholas Alvarado going to take third place. So they are the podium for this race. Matthew Markowski has held off Jack Harvey, who's fallen back quite a way now, and he's going to win the Invitational split. Great to see him back into performing ways, coming through in the Lamborghini in the rain. And behind him, Jack Harvey and Joe Boyle will take those next 2 positions. Leonard Schungel taking 7th, Paul Cantera 8th, and then Nicholas Norberg in the Ferrari is going to come around to win amateur split. Huge shouts out for him with Thomas Van Zanten coming in second, and Paul Krampf going to be second because of those 20 seconds of penalties on McGregor for a couple of incidents. Actually, Bloomfield, they're coming in 13th place overall, but amazingly, that's second place for the Invitational drivers.
Looks like Markowski was practicing a little bit for his retirement plans of becoming a baker. He was making quite a few donuts there.
And so, I'm worried that people will leave too far now, but as soon as we get the race ticking over, we can start thinking about your drivers of the day for the race. Who would your driver of the day be for this second race? I think I would go with Nicholas Norberg. Great to see him in only his second race in the Ferrari and ACCSS taking the amateur crown. Really good performance from him.
I might be it might be unpopular to go for this kind of driver of the day, but I would go for Henley. He's controlled the race completely. It was impossible for Riley to get past him. He tried an undercut, it failed. Even on cold tires, he managed to keep Riley behind and just completely dominated the race in the wet. Very good job for him. Albeit he was helped by the fact that the Boatley is great on the water, as boats tend to be, and the Mercedes is not. But still, I think it was a fantastically controlled race for him, and a redemption from the tire mishaps of the first race.
Absolutely. So remember to get in chat any of your votes for driver of the day. We'd like to see a load of you putting in your input here. See who we put up for that prize. You've obviously got Ollie Henley in first position, Riley in second, Alvarado P3 to vote for him, P4 for Markowski, 5 for Harvey, 6 for Boyle, 7 for Leonard Schungel, 8 for Paul Cantera, 9 for Nicholas Rovberg, or 10 for Thomas Van Zanten. Our votes so far: Ollie Henley out from Mihai. From Turner, we have Paul Cantera. Rob voting for Leonard Schungel. I'd put my vote in for Nicholas Norberg. If we don't get any more, that's going to be... we're just going to leave it there with Ollie, Henley, Riley and Alvarado, our Tier 1 winners. Norberg, Van Zanten and Krampf in Tier 2. Huge shout outs to all those drivers, to everyone doing these races. We've now had our first 3 races of all on Zandvoort. And we're going to be going to Paul Ricard next week. Le Castellet for our second race. Should be a good one. Much better track for racing than Zandvoort. May not be as fun for hot lapping, but hopefully we'll get to see a lot more side-by-sides going on there.
Paul Ricard is quite known for its for good racing. It usually has on it. It has a poor reputation from F1, but I think it's quite a good track for GT racing, and it's mostly because it's effectively a giant parking lot.
Yep. Nice and wide, lots of room for going a little bit off the track, and that big straight, of course. So shout outs for some of our events quickly before we leave. 3% Scenario, Suzuka in GT3s in the wet. That's going to be our weekly Wednesday race on the Sim Racing GP official channel, I believe. Then, of course, we have the GT4 Hours of Alton, which you can sign up for, and the BTCC Super Torres in Assetto Corsa, the original game, which are going to be on Cadwell Park on Tuesday. David Jesse's driving coaching will be at Paul Ricard on Thursday to prepare our drivers for the next race of the season, and ! Sign up if you want to come and join us out there. I have been Gareth Romther. Thank you everyone who came, everyone who subscribed, everyone who followed, everyone who did all of that junk. And we are going to end off this stream now with some adverts and some highlights to support the stream. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming around. We've had a nice stream, some nice races, and we will see you next time.